Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Saturday to everybody out there. Today, I want to discuss a fragrance I fell in love with a few weeks ago called Acqua di Parma Leather. Acqua di Parma is an Italian niche house. Um, and before I get on with my feelings and thoughts about this fragrance, I'll go ahead and tell you the notes right quick. Top notes is Brazilian orange, Sicilian lemon, and raspberry. The heart notes is red thyme, honeysuckle, petitgrain, and rose. Base notes is leather, cedar, Paraguayan guaiac oil. Now, basically what this fragrance is this is a leather dominant fragrance. I would say probably from the very opening to the very end of the dry down, this is going to be pretty much a constant 75 to 80% leather jacket accord fragrance. That's what this smells like all the way through the life of the fragrance. There is a few of these notes that float in and out throughout the life of the fragrance. Like in the opening, there's a really beautiful semi-sweet raspberry note that comes in the opening and joins with the leather note. It gives it a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of fruitiness, and a little bit of softness. In the mid, there is a rose that comes in that also gives this leather a little bit of sweetness and floral. But one of my favorite things about this part of the fragrance is the honeysuckle. The honeysuckle comes in and it complements the rose and the leather and that red thyme that gives it a little bit of herbalness to this fragrance. That honeysuckle is absolutely beautiful in this fragrance. I love the smell of honeysuckle. And just the combination of honeysuckle, leather, and the red thyme and the rose is just so beautiful in the mid. In the dry down, I still get touches of the rose and honeysuckle, but there is a earthiness that comes in the dry down, and it's that Paraguayan guaiac oil that gives it a really rich, dark, woody, earthy accord, and it sort of roughens it up in the dry down a little bit. It makes it even more masculine. It's just a beautiful composition. Um, it develops really well. I love when each of these notes comes in. It sort of floats in like the raspberry in the mid. It's a really nice touch. The honeysuckle rose and the herbal red thyme in the mid, and that guaiac oil that gives a real earthiness and a really good base to this fragrance in the dry down. It's just such a beautiful composition to me. But like I said, this is basically a 75 to 80% leather jacket all the way through. So this is very leather dominant. Those other notes that I just mentioned are just like really, it's to complement the leather throughout the life of the fragrance. It's just it gives it character as far as I'm concerned. And it does, Francois Demochy did an excellent job on this fragrance in the composition and the blending and everything else. As a matter of fact, over the last year, I've really gotten into leather fragrances, and I have collected a lot of leather fragrances throughout the last year. And I haven't been able to pick a number one. I decided instead of making a like a number one, number two, and number three fragrance, leather fragrance, I was just going to make three of the leather fragrances my top favorite. And this has joined my other two top favorite leather dominant fragrances. It is this, it is Valentino Uomo Intense. And a lot of people say this is iris dominant. I disagree. I don't agree with that. I think the dominant note in here is leather, and then an iris vanilla combination as the secondary notes. But to me, this is a leather dominant fragrance, in my opinion. And it also has joined my number one Tom Ford Ombre Leather. So I have three number one leather dominant fragrances. It is this, Ombre Leather, and Valentino Uomo Intense. I can't pick a number one. I just love all these so much. They're all leather dominant, but I love them in different ways. This is probably the most complex and well-rounded leather dominant fragrance that I have. This is straight up pure leather jacket smell, which is what I've been wanting for a really long time, and I finally got it. This is straight up just plain leather jacket as far as I'm concerned. And this is probably the most elegant and sophisticated leather dominant fragrance that I have. So all these are my number one. I can't pick a number one. I just love them so much, but just in different ways. So I hope y'all got something from this. This is a 2 thumbs up. If I could do 3 thumbs up, I would, but I only have 2 thumbs right now. But this is highly recommended by me. I love this fragrance to death. It is the most well-rounded and complex, I think, out of the 3. But anyway, if you're interested, I will put a link in the description on where you can get this. And if you can't afford it, Acqua di Parma is a little bit more on the expensive side, but maybe you could get like a 5 ml sample or something like that and sort of like sample it first before you buy it. But anyway, I love you guys, and I will be back either later on today or maybe tomorrow with something else. All right, love you guys, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.